Don't buy Van Cleef. Oh my gosh, no, wait, don't freak out. I'm not saying that if you love the Van Cleef, specifically the Alhambra range, that, or if you have any of the pieces, if it captures your heart in a way that no other jewellery has, that you have terrible taste. Oh my gosh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm also not saying that it's a terrible decision. Oh my gosh, how could you? That's not what this is about. This is basically about alternatives, okay? And not necessarily like bang on the nose alternatives that look extremely similar, but other brands that I just sort of want to highlight. The majority of these are independent brands except for one, that just to put on your radar, maybe they may match your personality a little bit more than the Van Cleef Alhambra range. Why is that the one that I've decided to come for? It's that or the Cartier Love Bracelet, really, when it comes to popularity of fine jewellery pieces. They really rule the roost, okay? It's come through in the numbers. People love them, okay, and I get it. You've got a lot of money to spend on this one thing, right? Fine jewellery is not cheap. It feels like it has to be a little bit more considered than fashion because it's something that you're going to wear every day. It's not something that you would necessarily change with your outfit. It's something that inherently we have been taught to value and pass down through generations, maybe a little bit more than we have done with fashion. So people take this as, obviously, I want to make sure that my money is well spent. These are pieces that loads of other people have tried and it's worked for them. These are pieces that will stand the test of time. I don't want to be bored of this in 10, 20 years. I get it, right? And those definitely are the pieces for that. But I just wanted to highlight some. I don't know, maybe you might take a shining. Some of these semi have the same characteristics. I'll cover it, but link's going to be below or in the shopping button on the screen. Guys, if you're new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put up videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, then you're probably gonna love it here. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. I also have a Substack newsletter in case you want even more content from me. That will be linked below. It comes out once a week. The first brand isn't independent. I thought I'd sort of start with this one, but this is the most similar brand to the Van Cleef Alhambra range. It's also owned by the same parent company. This is Pucci. They were founded in 1919, so if you also want a brand that sort of has that history, it's been around for a while, it's not gonna go bust in a year's time, then you might want to cast your minds over here. Their opera range in particular is very similar to the Van Cleef Alhambra. The Alhambra range is sort of based around the four-leaf clover good luck charm, whereas the opera range is based off of the logo of the brand, okay? And I think they started doing it in like 2005 or something like this. It is more intricate and ornate and sort of like Renaissance-y looking compared to the Alhambra. It maybe has a little bit more of a vintage vibe, if that is the way that you like things. And whilst it doesn't have the range of stones, you do still have a little bit of options when it comes to colours. A lot of the pieces come in blue, red and green enamel and mother of pearl. So those two are the ones that maybe, yeah, it's going to have the same sort of care that you would expect of an Alhambra piece. But when it comes to the enamel pieces, they're maybe a little bit more hard wearing than some of the stones that are available in the Alhambra, right? But you do still get like a little selection of colours there. I mean, they do rings, necklaces, bracelets, brooches. Why aren't we doing more fine jewellery brooches? Like imagine just like the green ones. Okay, this is not a good shirt for this, but imagine that this was a pointed collar, okay? And then you just had one here and one here. That's fab. That's, oh my gosh, right? That's like a different level of things. Love that. I love the double ring that sort of has one of the like coloured opera tools and then underneath it there's like a smaller gold version with diamonds. I like that. You're also looking at a comparable price point really compared to Van Cleef. But if you want similar but different, this is the brand in the collection for you. So the rest of the brands are independent brands and they have some different vibes. Okay, I'm going to start this section off introducing Loquet, L-O-Q-U-E-T. This is a London-based fine jewellery brand and they have done something very cool when it comes to the lockets. If you think of a locket, you think of like a little, like old, this thing, it's got a little hinge, you hinge it open and there is the most minuscule picture of somebody or something that you've ever seen, right? They're about this big. They have sort of taken this concept and you buy your locket, they come in like, there's like round ones, hearts, Oh, rectangles, okay? This little sort of cage, almost. Some have diamonds, some don't, whatever. And then you fill it with charms that you know, collect along the way in life. So maybe you start off with one, and then at your next milestone, or maybe a life event, maybe a holiday you go on, right? Every time you just add a new little chain. And as you go, you collect all these little charms and they swim, okay? So there's like a level of movement in the locket. I just think that this is a fan-sodding-tastic idea. They've got like a little palm tree, a 4-leaf clover, a little champagne glass. What else? There's also like small animals. There's all sorts of options there, and I like it. So obviously they do the pendant. They do a sort of like charm bracelet-y sort of thing. That's not necessarily my favourite, but also I just don't gravitate to those sorts of bracelets anyway. And then they also do rings. So again, same locket concept, but it's in the ring. She's jingle jangling. It's personalised to you. I think this is such a brilliant idea. So the next brand is New York based, but I believe the designer is originally Brazilian. This brand is Maritz Glick. If you gravitate towards the shiny and the sparkly and, you know, you align yourself with magpies in that way, person after my own heart, then this might just tickle your fancy. Basically, all of the pieces are sort of based on this sort of shaker style concept where there's all of these tiny gemstones, diamonds swimming in a cage, okay? Sort of similar to the locket in that sort of respect, right? The thing with this is not necessarily like a new concept. If you remember things like the Chopard Happy Diamonds, they sort of swim, you know, but they're all sort of rounded. These ones are different shapes. There seems to be a little bit more movement within them compared to something like the Happy Diamonds. So whilst the concept's been done before, the execution is very different. These as well, if you like the option to have colour, to choose colours, and it's not just all about the diamonds, then there are emerald versions, ruby versions. There are lots of different designs that sort of surround this shaker concept. Again, I would sort of say like the price points are sort of similar to Van Cleef as well. But again, you're getting diamonds, whereas in Van Cleef, maybe you're not. They do these in rings, in necklaces, in earrings. The bracelets are more expensive, but that's because you're dealing with a lot of diamonds there. The shaker bangle, I love it. She's square, so she's like already like a little bit like, oh, okay. And then you want the shaker down? Stop. So good. And then the other piece that I particularly like is the 10-14 ring. Again, she's swimming, there's movement, she's a conversation starter, right? She's different, she's interesting. She's a woman we want to know. Okay, next up, I can't stop talking about this woman. This is BUY Van Velden. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is a Dutch brand. It's been around for a while and she gets a lot of her inspiration from nature. So you'll see this like throughout her pieces as like a bit of a constant. On top of that, everything's like a miniature sculpture. And I think that's sort of like the whole concept behind this. I would probably say her most well-known collections or designs are the alligators. They are so good. And there's everything from like a tiny alligator sort of like crawler earring all the way to an alligator necklace that wraps around your neck. The price point is different from VCA without diamonds, but with diamonds, you know, you might be comparable. I also really enjoy the different kinds of like materials and stones that she uses. My favourite piece is the alligator bite earring that also, by the way, converts into a necklace on like as a pendant. Its little mouth is the sodding closure. Are you kidding me? It's absolutely fantastic. It's a tiny sculpture. Anyway, you can get the body in ebony wood, malachite, opal, green amethyst. I think maybe I'm team green amethyst. I didn't even know that was a thing. Lapis lazuli. Crazy, right? Like really, really cool, different. It just looks cool. Now, on top of that, maybe alligators aren't your thing. There's jellyfish. There's a monkey piece. What else? There's like mermaid tails, okay? Loves a bit of water. Scarab beetles as well. Absolutely fantastic, okay? I mean, there's rings, necklaces, earrings, bracelets. Personally, I gravitate towards the earrings particularly. They're just really good. Mystery Joy. This is a really interesting brand. This is a French fine jewellery brand, and it's the only brand on this list that exclusively uses lab-grown diamonds, okay? So the price point is a little bit more accessible than VCA or some of the other options that I've mentioned. So their pieces are very sort of whimsical, again, on the fun end of the spectrum. And I believe their first collection was inspired by Alice in Wonderland. So you'll sort of see themes there. There's very sort of like playing card themes, checkered board and like chessy sort of themes. I really like, they do a few pieces that use nylon. It gives this really great effect. I think they do it in necklaces, bracelets, and rings. And basically it has this incredible effect of looking like the piece is floating on whatever body part that it's on. So you've got this sort of like checkerboard looking design that could be floating on a finger. They do a choker version again that looks like it's just sort of held on by nothing into the middle of your neck. And I just think that that is brilliant. I love it. I find it really interesting. And then of course they have the non-nylon gold versions of everything. I love the playing card rings. I love the dice. The dice are really cool, especially as a pinky ring. They're chunky. Again, it's fun, it's interesting. Maybe this is for somebody who, yeah, loves a good card game, is a poker aficionado. I don't know. But I think that's fun and interesting. Again, another conversation starter, I'd say. Type jewelry. The jewelry designer for this is Panamanian, and there are 6 collections within the brand currently. Each one is very filled with personality, very interesting, stuff that I personally haven't like seen elsewhere. So just to highlight a couple of the collections here. So you have the Lego collection, which is sort of inspired by, you know, the formulation of the dots on the Lego cubes? Yeah, you'll see that sort of present in some of the designs there. The type stack rings don't. I'm very into like a pre-done for you stacked ring, and these ones are great. Okay, I love the variations in textures, in like that there's a pear-shaped gemstone or diamond involved. There's different levels of the stacks you can do. So you can do razzle dazzle, pave diamonds, give it to me, or you can do a like toned down version of it. Either way, I love it. There's also a version that you can personalize. You can do like a name or initials. It's great. It's great. It's hefty. It's chunky. It's interesting. The difference in the textures, it's not like every other sort of stacked ring that you might have seen before. So I love that a lot. And then you also have the tubbo, which is everything sort of rounded and chunky and sculptural in that aspect. And then there's just like a side of it that will be dipped in pave rubies or dipped in pave diamonds or whatever, right? It looks like it would feel very comfortable to wear because it is so rounded. That collection also has the sideways bracelets. Why would you do this to me? Because, okay, so first of all, everything is done like you have this sort of like tiny tubes stacked together to create the bracelet. So we're doing something very different when it comes to like texture and how it will fit into a stack so well, but it also stands alone as something really interesting to the eye. But why they call it the sideways is where the gemstones are. Not only are they like on the front of the bracelet, but also down the side. So whether you are catching the light here and there, you're getting little sneak peeks into, oh, I didn't know that it would be emeralds on the top and on the side. That's so interesting. That's fun, right? I really, really enjoy that. Everything is very wearable, but easily integrated into whatever you currently have as well. The last brand is BUY Pariah, I am not sure. This is if you're not that bothered about the diamond aspect, then I would ask you to have a look at these because this is a very interesting brand, very rounded. You just know that it's going to sit comfortably on the body, but there's a heft there. You can get these rings and different pieces in quartz and the moss, agate. Is it agate? Agate? Whatever. The moss one, great. It's like mottled in green. Love that. All of a sudden I need a BUY Pariah moss sodding stacking bracelet to fit in between everything. Love that. Really interesting. It feels very earthy, very natural looking. It's not as saturated in colour as some of the Van Cleef options, but I think that it's such a cool brand. A lot of pieces then just have this like golden stripe that sort of goes through. Some of those stripes are with diamonds, some aren't. In terms of pendants, they have this sort of pebble shaped again, different materials used there, some with diamonds, some without. I hope that I have piqued your interest on something today, or maybe you've just gone like, no, I still want the VCA, and that's fine too. Let me know which was your favourite piece that I showed today. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are. In the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.